exists because we say it all the time, and it's skewed in a bit of a different way. We always ask ourselves, should you ever have drafted a running back in the first round? And I think a lot of people would agree no. And has Najee Harris lived up to a running back in the first round grade? The answer, I think a lot of people would say no, even after coming off a very good game. Mm-hmm. Now the question skews to Kenny Pickett, and it will remain on Kenny Pickett these last 8 games. Was Kenny Pickett and is Kenny Pickett worth taking in the first round? Now Kenny Pickett is to the point where, and he has been for a while, it's not measured against Mitch Trubisky. It's not measured against Mason Rudolph. It's not measured against anybody else. Is this guy someone you should have drafted in the first round?
Right.
That's Kenny Pickett v. whatever. It's the first round grade. And he has to answer that question these last 8 games.
And is he what a lot of people said he was coming out, which is a limited ceiling guy who tapped out whatever, maximized whatever potential he had in his final year at Pitt, and he simply is what he is now? Or is there, and that's why I keep using the word growth, Dorn, is there more room to grow? Can he become one of those top 10 quarterbacks in the league at the very
Can
least?
we measure him against other first-round quarterbacks that are playing right now?
Zach Wilson.
Trevor Lawrence. I mean, they're 3-7. I mean, that's how I kind of measure Kenny. It's like, all right, well, what's Trevor Lawrence, who was the number 1 pick, in a huge gap after him? What's he doing right now? So it's like, do you go back to and we always have this conversation, do you go back to the drawing table? Do you go back and say, hey, if we have a top 5 pick, do we draft a quarterback? They might be like Trevor Lawrence.
There's no guarantees.
Trevor Lawrence and Kenny, to me, are somewhat the same. I mean, they're somewhat the same right now.
If you put Trevor Lawrence on this football team, do you think the Steelers would be better?
No.
No.
I don't think so.
Maybe a game. I know.
And that has as much to do with everything around, the line, the offensive coordinator, all of it.
I don't know. That's tough for me to answer. It really is.
Well, how about Zach Wilson? You put Zach Wilson on his team.
Be the same.
I think they're worse.
With Wilson?
Yeah.
And Lawrence?
Yeah. They might be the same with Lawrence. I'm not a big Zach Wilson guy. Kenny Pickett showed me yesterday that it's been pounded in his head for 2 weeks. Don't turn the ball over. And he said, okay, I'll go execute that assignment. And maybe that's all he can do, one thing at a time, right, while he learns. Zach Wilson plays like a man with his head cut off.
I mean, if you take the half dozen quarterbacks taken in the first round in the last 2 drafts combined, I think you make a great point, Dorn. He's right there with the rest of them. I mean,